Welcome to the Sean Newman podcast. Today, I'm joined by Adam Konrad. So first off, sir, thanks for hopping on.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Now, you come to me in a very not odd way, because normally this is exactly how a lot of guests come, but it's a different story. And somehow a listener listens to a podcast, throws me your page, I read your story, somehow we connect, and here we sit. So I guess what I'm looking for and what I would love out of you is the audience is, for the most part, isn't going to know who Adam Konrad is. So first off, maybe we could start with a little bit of background, and then let's just lead into your story. And I'll interject if I feel the need to, but chances are I'm going to let you go.
Okay. Just a quick overview. I'm an identical twin. I'm 41 years old. In 2007, I caught the world record rainbow trout at Lake Diefenbaker. And from then we started guiding on the side, as I was a full-time mechanic living in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. And we started guiding. My brother and I went fishing, and he caught a bigger rainbow than me. So he broke my world record. So he now holds the world record at 48
How pissed
pounds.
were you?
Yeah. And, we were still mechanics full time until COVID hit, and I got laid off my job at Saskatoon Motor Products as a tech. Well, I was a tech for 15 years. And my brother still works in Spruce Grove as a automotive service tech at a Hyundai dealership. And anyway, so when I got laid off my job, we opened up our guiding business full time. And now I'm owner of Fishing Geeks, part owner, and the full-time guide. And we run rentals now, and we're putting a lodge up on the lake. So that's kind of my story, 41 years in the little...
My question is, I got 3 older brothers. If I held the record and then they broke my said record, how pissed were you?
Being an identical twin is a little different than just having a brother.
How so?
Just like he's part of me, I guess.
You still weren't pissed?
No.
Come on. He had
to. You want me to lie? Yeah, I was super pissed.
No, I don't want you to lie. I'm just like, to get beat by your twin brother. Yeah, that's better than your arch nemesis. But I just assume you're like, yeah, I got the world's largest trout. And then to have your twin brother beat you is like, yeah, I'm happy about it, but I'm still kind of pissed about it. I mean, I had the world's largest trout.
I guess that's the difference between me and a lot of other people, is that Sean and I work as a team, and that's how we succeed in things we do through our whole lives. We've always worked together. Started with even playing soccer. When we're on the field together, we could dominate the field because we knew kind of what we were going to do, right? Pass the ball here, go there. But when it comes to fishing, we work together as a team. And when we go out fishing, it doesn't matter if he caught the record-breaking fish or I did. It's just a team effort when we're out there, right? So that's why we're so successful. We do compete, but I'm actually glad he broke my record, because now that someone's got to catch a bigger fish than 48 pounds. And I can take credit for it too, so...
That's pretty crazy. First off, Lake Diefenbaker, I didn't realize there was that big a trout sitting there. One, I've been by that lake plenty. I'm sure a lot of people in Saskatchewan have, and I didn't realize it had the world's largest trout in it. That's something new to me. The twin thing is interesting. I'm a hockey guy. I got the jerseys on the wall, and anytime I hear about twins, I'm sure any hockey fan thinks of the Sedins in Vancouver, and they always talked about how they just knew where they were going to be and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, I mean, it's pretty hard to understand from a guy that just doesn't have a twin. I got 3 older brothers, and we compete, and we fight, and we go, and everything else. The way you talk about it almost sounds a little rose-colored glasses, if you will. It's almost something...
We beat each other senseless, I'll tell you that. Yeah.
Well, let's hop to it. I'd love to sit here and say we're going to talk about fishing the entire time, and someday I hope that's what we get to do, Adam. I really do. I've had a few different fishing guides on the show. One point in time, But where we sit now, we sit in this weird couple of years. And we talked earlier, and I wouldn't mind if you'd share a little bit of your story and in your journey in the past couple of years.
Okay, well, it started all with COVID when I got laid off my job and we opened up our business. Things were great. We had a great opening year. I was making more money as a guide at a new business without like, we didn't really have a name out for guiding yet, like crazy. And we are doing very successful. Business is great. The first year I had enough work that I didn't have to go back to my job. So I just told my boss that I wasn't coming back, and we just started expanding our business. So that was the first year, and then did some ice fishing over the ice fishing season, and then came in April is when I have a month off. There's no fishing, and that's when the Pfizer shots started coming out. I'm not sure my exact date. I think it was April 26th. I got vaccinated, and my wife and I went in, both got vaccinated, and the next day I was super tired and just like, I think like how everybody felt, kind of, you get super tired and sick for a few days. And didn't really bother me because I knew that there would be some sort of kickback to getting, like, obviously when you get flu shots and stuff, sometimes you get sick. But yeah, I don't know. I really didn't think about it. Like, just wanted to do what was right, protect myself, protect others. And yeah, it wasn't maybe 10 days later, I found myself kind of fighting for my life. It happened really fast. I was guiding on the water all day, like I always do. And I got back into the RV. I staying in an RV at Sandy Shores Resort because we're building our lodge out there. So the lodge is just kind of being built. So I was in the RV, and I think it was around 10 o'clock at night. I was in bed. I was actually watching a movie, and I was just finishing a beer. And I went up to get a glass of water, and my heart just started pounding. And my first thought was like, I didn't know what to think really. I just felt my heart beating, and I was just like, okay, whatever. And I took 2 steps, and then my heart started beating faster, and it was very weird how it was beating. I've never felt anything like that, and I didn't know what was going on. It took me a while to figure out actually what was going on, and I thought I had, like, I don't know, it was a partial heart attack, or turns out to be AFib with a high heart rate. But I was sitting at about 230 beats a minute and out of rhythm, and it basically felt like my heart was exploding. And I got a friend to come over. It was 11 o'clock. I popped some aspirin. Yeah, I popped aspirin because that's what I was told to do if you're having a heart attack or heart problems. So I had some aspirin, and there was a nurse that was on site there that's sleeping. We woke her up, and she came and felt my heartbeat and told me I had to go to emergency right away. And I didn't know why. She said my heart is having problems, and I was just like, my heart is having problems? What? Like, why? Like, I was just like, what is going on? Like, what if you had a heart attack tonight? Like, why? Like, you live a good, healthy life. I run all the time. I'm 40 years old. And so I started getting scared, and on the way there to the hospital, it felt like forever. Anyway, I'll speed this up. I was in
let me be very clear. You do not need to speed anything up.
Well, it's a long story.
That's fine. A podcast is not built off of being a 2-minute story.
Okay.
If you skip over details, Adam, I'm going to slow you down and pick it and want to know
There's,
more. So
yeah,
just, I
well, some of
appreciate
the
the
best.
story.
Yeah, well, I did write my story down. I'm just gonna kind of wing it because it's
No, that's
pretty
fair. That's fair.
fresh. Outlook Hospital, my heart rate was sitting at 230 beats a minute and out of rhythm, and it would be like pump, 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 and then stop, and then boom, and then it would just like it would feel like my heart was just pounding as fast as it could whenever it wanted, and it was like I was passing out, I was lightheaded. It was kicking in now, and they couldn't get my heart under control in Outlook, so they ambulanced me to Saskatchewan at the university hospital, and I pretty much saying my goodbyes to my family, and yeah, so I was in the surprised I made it to university hospital, to be honest. I thought I was gonna die on the way there because at a heart rate of 230, 240 for 6 hours it was sitting at now was, your heart will fail eventually if you don't get it out down to a manageable beating rhythm, right? So anyway, got there. The ambulance lady, she must have been 35. Like I still didn't really know what was happening. But she asked me if I had my Pfizer or if I had a COVID shot. And I said, well, yeah. And she's like, which one did you get? I said, Pfizer. And she said, oh. And I was like, why? She told me that she had a Pfizer shot. And it was a week later, her heart rate jumped to about 180 or 190 or something. And I think she was in rhythm though, but she said her heart rate jumped to like 200 or something, and she had to be in the hospital for 24 hours till her heart rate came down. It's just like, what? Like nobody told me that I could have heart issues after this shot. Like, so I'm just like, it was very weird. Anyway,
Well, and for the audience, like I'm just thinking back to my time, like when I got smacked in the face with a puck, a slap shot. Um, my heart went as low as 48 beats a minute, and resting heart rate can be anywhere between what 60 to what 80. I mean, it probably could be a little higher than that, but that's kind of in the ballpark. So
yeah,
200 and some beats, just for the audience to like put that into perspective, man. That's like you go for a run, my heart will beat at like 100 and I don't know, 130, 140,
yeah.
and it
No,
feels
you
like
could
it's
get
going to
up
fall out of your chest.
150,
Sure.
160 that's a full out sprint, eh?
And we all
So
know what that feels like when it's just like you can't catch your breath and holy crap, like 200 and some.
yeah, I was 230, 240. I was like, yeah. It turned out that a couple of weeks later or I think a week later when I saw my doctor, he basically said if I was 20 years older, that my heart would have given out. So lucky that like I've been running my whole life, kind of with exercising and never really been obese or anything. I was just like, there was no reason for my heart to start doing that. I don't know. Nothing really changed. I just, you have a beer or two once a night or twice a night. And like, I've been doing that for 20 years. And so like, I don't know. I cut out everything. I don't know. I'm jumping again. Anyway, when I'm in the university hospital, they had to like restart my heart pretty much. Like, so they paddled me with I don't even know what they're called. So when they paddled me, they restarted my heart, and I woke up to my heart beating in rhythm again. And I don't know. I think I made a doctor's appointment, or they put me on blood thinners right away. but the doctors pretty much thought it was one rare occurrence because, like, I don't know, it was the first time it ever happened to me. So, like, the first things I did was like, what could have caused this? I do drink Monster energy drinks, one every like 2 or 3 days. So I cut out Monster energy drinks. That was the first thing I did. I cut my alcohol intake in half. So instead of having 1 or 2 beers every day, I'd have 1 or 2 beers every 2 days, or only one beer, right? Um, yeah, and caffeine too. I could go on and on, but
Yeah.
I was in the doctor's office and they just said it's probably the Monster energy drinks, and you overdid your body, so you got to hydrate yourself and relax.
Nobody ever brought up the Pfizer shot
No,
except
never
for the
once.
paramedic.
I never even knew it at that point. I still didn't know what was going on. All I thought is that I'm having heart problems now. And I still didn't think about it, because when she told me that, I just kind of went in my mind and out. And then later on, when I was thinking about it, like, this happened about a month later, when I'm like, wait a minute, like, what changed in my life?
One thing.
Like, because you read about AFib when it starts. And a lot of times AFib will start when you change medications. Or when I started reading, adverse reactions for medications. Which I'm just like, well, I did get the Pfizer shot. So then I did, like, okay, then I checked on everything, and I'm finding out all these adverse reactions, right? So now I'm like putting two to two together. Is it? And then I asked my doctor about it. I'm going forward still. After
No,
I got out of the hospital the first time, it was only 10 days before I had to head back to ER again.
same thing.
Yeah, so it was, I was in the university hospital, first attack. I had a doctor's appointment. They told me to not drink Monsters, cut my caffeine intake in half, hydrate. I did all that. And it was only 3 days in, I was back on the lake guiding. And at night again, I think it was 1:30 in the morning, I woke up and I stood up to go take a pee, and my heart jumped out of rhythm again. So I had to, like, 10 days later, rush myself to ER again. My heart was over 200 again. I don't know how many times it's happened. All I know that in the last 6 months, I've been paddled 6 times.
You've been paddled 6 times in the last 6 months.
Yeah, they put you to sleep. They put a defibrillator here and on your back, and then I don't know how many volts they paddle you, right? And then I'm left with scars on my skin. Like, I'm asleep when it's happening, so I don't
Yeah.
see it. But all I know is that after they do it, I'm back in rhythm and I'm feeling like normal again, ish. Yeah, I don't know. It's been a long summer. Been a very long summer. I'll let you talk for a bit. What do you have, any questions?
Well, no, I just no. There's not a whole lot of questions. I've been hesitant. On this side, I'll give you a little bit of my backstory. I'm just been hesitant ever since the start. Ever since they said this is the only way we get out. As soon as there's only one option, I'm always like, that doesn't feel right. And then when they say it's safe and effective, that doesn't feel right, right? Like, there's always risk. There's risk in everything. Adam, you might be 1 in a million. You might be 1 in 10 million, but you're still a human being, which means hearing your story, I'm just like, this is, I don't know what I thought this would be, but this is hard for me to even ask questions, because I feel like, I don't want to ask questions. I want you to talk. I just want you to explain your story so people understand. Because
Yeah,
to me, I sit on this side, and it has been a wild ride by not getting it because people have vilified me. They have vilified people who haven't got it that I know, friends, family, et cetera, et cetera. And it's been an interesting go that way. This entire 2 years has been interesting. And I don't think no matter what side of the coin you're on, everybody's had an interesting ride of it. And when I hear
Yeah.
your story, I just go, like, man, I don't know how we got here. Like, I
Yeah.
understand COVID. I understand the dangers that come with it. But what you're talking about is something that they act like isn't there. And to hear it
Yeah.
firsthand is uncomfortable. Honestly, I sit here and I'm sitting here and I'm like trying to spit out. You want me to talk? I'm going, man. I'm just gonna
Well,
do some word mumbo jumbo.
I could read you my story. Like I have it written down because there's times where I get very like depressed. So I have written my story down, and actually, I think what I'll do is just read it to you,
Sure.
and it kind of goes in more detail. My mind just kind of jumps
No,
around.
no, no. You're doing good, Adam.
Um,
Don't beat yourself up. That's what a podcast is all about. We get to go down rabbit holes and everything else. But I tell you what, if you got it written down, I won't stop you.
okay. I'll just go to the start. Basically, just saying it was 5 months at the time, and this was my first story. I have not like talked about my second story, but is the volume good for you there
You
for
betcha.
me?
Yep.
Okay. April 23rd, I show up for my first dose of Pfizer. It wasn't a week after I started noticing something weird with my heart. Um, on May 16th was my first attack actually. So it was maybe more than 10 days. I was out of rhythm, 240, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Here we go. I was rushed to the University Hospital as I almost passed out 2 times. My fight continued as I was prescribed 4 medications now. I was in full fear that my second attack, as I thought, what happens if I'm the lake by myself and passed out? Because actually, I forgot to tell you that if you're out of rhythm and your heart's beating that fast, you pass out. Like you can pass out very easily. So for me to drive by myself over an hour on the highway while I'm an AFib with a high heart rate is very dangerous. Because I could hit the ditch and I'll be passed out in the ditch. What if I'm and I'm out of rhythm? This is such an impact on my sleep at night, and fear my heart will finally give out. From when I lived the healthiest life I could, cutting out everything possible that could have a negative effect on my body and heart, eating high magnesium foods, cutting out alcohol, caffeine. I even purchased a book called The AFib Cure. And if you know me, I am not a reader. I went about a month till it happened again. This time I was alone at the lake. I woke up at 3 a.m. with a bad feeling. My heart started pumping hard. I took metoprolol, but it was too late as my heart rate jumped over 200 again and out of rhythm. I got in my car as I was alone at the lake and slowly made my way to Saskatoon. I called my wife, who came to meet me in case I passed out. It felt like a lifetime to get to the hospital as my heart was exploding over 200 to 240 beats a minute. Again, I was cardioverted back into rhythm a third time in less than 2 months. My body was so exhausted and feeling of such helplessness. I've since had 2 other attacks. One last night, which was, I don't even know when this was, September 28th. So this is when I posted my story on September 29th. Then I go, do I know for certain the Pfizer shot was the only contributor to my heart arrhythmia problem? No, I don't. Is it a coincidence? Maybe. I don't know either. Would I have taken the shot if I knew that there were possible side effects? Probably. At the time of what I knew and what everybody was telling us to do, I probably would have still got it. Oh, I go on and say we live in a society that is starting to be divided from vaxxed and unvaxxed. All the hate. Hold on a second. All the hate against one another, violence throughout the world, riots, deaths, nudes, social media blowing up with violent threats, and all I want to do is fish. I feel sorry for everyone who have to live their lives every day with this divide. Like the healthcare workers, people just think that they're just doing the right thing that for themselves, and everybody's just like going crazy. I don't know. That was my first story.
You still
There's more.
you still feel like it's a coincidence?
No, no. That was after 5 attacks. I don't even know. I think that I started I knew it was a Pfizer shot after like a month later when I started talking to people about it. And what do you do? What do you do? You call the doctor and say, hey, this was the Pfizer shot. And they say, I don't know, it could be, but what does it matter? Like, let's continue with life. Like, there's nothing you can do. I got it. Am I going to get the second one? No.
I'm piss you off. I'm
Oh,
pissed off
well,
for you.
yeah, I was pissed off. I'm better now. I It's just like so much heartbreak out there, and I don't know how is this us humans as a society here deal with what's going on, like, right? We can talk all we want about it, but can we change what's going to happen, what they want us to do?
I think we can. I could be wrong.
Yeah, well,
We're
we could
supposed
vote, and we tried voting, and we all
Hmm.
see where that got us.
I think Adam, maybe I'm wrong. So maybe I got rose colored glasses on. I think the hope is last time I checked, politicians, whatever you want to stick in that category, ain't that many. There's a lot of us. We just got to figure it out. And they just keep dividing us. They keep trying to separate us out into two cars, to two categories, to 7 categories, to whatever it is. I listen to you and I'm like, no. Like we should be able to admit what it is, stop, and be like, okay, like no more. Like this is no more. But instead, we keep rolling out that it's safe, effective, come for everybody. This is the only way out when we know there's other ways out, but we won't admit it. And our government won't admit it. Our healthcare professionals won't admit it. Canada is in this weird, strange world. And when I listen to your story, I'm heartbroken for you. And I know it's getting better for you. I hope it is. I just go, I don't know if it was preventable. I'll give you that, right? Back then, I agree. If they'd thrown out, listen, guys, this is the possible side effects. Well, we're all the same way. Smoking has possible side effects, some of which are really, really bad. Lots of people still smoke. Like, I get it. So it's not like maybe it wouldn't happen. Oh, I'm sure it would have. But that isn't the way it was portrayed. Certainly it wasn't then. It certainly isn't now. They keep telling us that it's the only way out of this. We're 2 years in. And stories like yourself kind of get mothballed. Honestly, on the podcast, you're the first one. You're the first story. And I feel almost a little shameful at them that I didn't want to have somebody on to talk about vaccine hesitance, injury, etc. And people might laugh about that, not because of having you on, because of my stance on a lot of things. But I just I don't want to have somebody on and then not have somebody on that got COVID, etc. But I listen to you and I go, I don't know. That's, to me, as a society, we can be better. That's just my stance.
Yeah, and I don't know. I kind of just after September, the end of September, I was, I'm just focusing on trying to keep my heart in rhythm. And, moving up into October, they pulled that, or they did the alcohol ban, right? On any liquor stores. So if you're unvaccinated, you can't buy alcohol. It's like we're 17 again.
But they won't give you an exemption.
Me, no.
They won't
There's
give you.
still there's still more to the story. This is like half the story.
Okay,
This
well,
is
I
the good,
apologize.
that was the good part of the story.
This was the good part.
That was everything you've seen was the good part.
You're getting me wound up on the good part. I apologize. I will just shut up. You
Like,
carry on.
compared to what happens after September 28th is like, yeah, they pulled alcohol away, and it didn't bother me because I actually stopped drinking alcohol, which is probably one of the best things I've done for myself. But my dad was an alcoholic, and he's living in Saskatoon, and he just enjoys his vodka at night, right? Has a couple shots of vodka, kind of zonks him out, and he goes to sleep, right? And some nights he drinks too much, but you know what? He's been like that his whole life, and he's a loving dad. And when they took away the alcohol from him, like, what, he went and did, right? He got his Pfizer shot because he can't buy alcohol now. And I don't know, he knew the, I don't know, consequences, or if you think that what I've had was a coincidence. I don't know. I told him to be careful if he gets his shots because of what happened to me. And he got his first shot on October 1st, I think. And he didn't tell us. This is my brother and my sister in Toronto. Didn't tell anyone, which is fine. It's his decision, right? And then on October 26th, maybe I'll just read my second story.
Sure.
I wrote it down. All right, here comes my second story. This was after September 26th. As I rested after September 28th attack, I lay in my bed, mentally and physically broken. My routine started again with my battle between my brain and my body for the weeks to come. I'm back to work after a week and struggle with sleep at the lake. My days at the lake, I'm filled with joy and laughter with my amazing clients. After the day on the water, I dread my long night to come. I pray I stay in rhythm. Weeks passed and our family started getting ready for Halloween. Things were getting better as my body started getting better rests. On October 26th, my brother has a weird conversation with our dad. Sean called me saying he's not acting right. Seeing that my dad was older and he drinks, I didn't think it was a big deal. October 28th, things seemed very different as I started falling mentally again. My heart, I got a typo there. My heart was in and out of rhythm that night. So when I go out of rhythm, I could feel it. I could feel my heart acting weird. And on the October 28th, my heart actually, I felt it go out of rhythm, and then it went back into rhythm. And that was about 10 seconds worth. So I was getting scared I might have to go to the hospital again. So I was getting ready to go to the hospital. And it kept acting up my heart that night. And it was very weird. Obviously, when you're having heart like palpitations and stuff, the worst thing for you is anxiety. So if I'm worried about my heart going out of rhythm and I have a panic attack, that can trigger an episode as well. So it was weird how like that night I wasn't feeling right. It was weird, but I found out why later. Things seemed very different. I started falling mentally. Oh yeah, I was October 31st was a very difficult day for me. Halloween was great, but my mood started crashing. I had amazing day on the water on November 2nd, and I was back home by 9 p.m. 2:30 a.m. I awoke on November 2nd out of rhythm. Panic started as my heart pounding away in my chest. My Apple Watch pegged me at 200 beats a minute again. A dose of metoprolol got me down to 170 and manageable. Off to the ER in 5 hours, out come the paddles again. When I woke, my body ached and my heart pierced with pain. Broken again, and in my bed, I had to cancel my next trip. The next few days went from bad to worse. November 6th, p.m., I realized I haven't talked to my dad since October 26th, and my brother talked to him on, I talked to him on October 25th. My brother talked to him on October 26th, and remember he was acting very weird. My brother basically said my dad kept asking him why he called him, which my dad actually called my brother. And my brother's like, "You called me, Dad. I could talk. What do you want to talk about?" And he just couldn't answer any questions. He was like, his mind was, it was like he was absolutely drunk, but not drunk. He wasn't acting drunk. He was different. When I called my dad, it went straight to voicemail. His phone has never gone to voicemail ever. And when that happened, I knew something was wrong. I had to call his apartment, and they had to do, they can't just go into the apartment. You have to do a wellness check, right? So when he knocked on the door, there was no answer. So I wasn't doing good. My wife actually went over to the apartment, and there was the coroner there with police, and my dad was on his floor dead. All I know is my dad died. I wasn't allowed in the apartment until everything got cleaned up. I was beaten and broken. My wife's voice and her broken voice, I knew that my dad had passed. He has been the rock throughout my life. I was so broken inside. November 12th, I'm allowed in. The smell that never will leave my mind. Why is this happening to me? I'm angry. I'm mad. I lifted for his wallet and I removed a record of COVID-19 immunization. My dad's second dose was October 26th at 1 p.m. And I knew right away that Pfizer had taken my dad. What do? You break, your body breaks, your mind breaks. The only thing you can do is just put yourself back together again and get up. So I did that. I knew that my dad would want me to be strong through it. So we held his funeral. We celebrated his life. And time heals. I have called every single place I can call. It seems like when something like this happens, nobody really wants to take responsibility or talk to you about it. The coroner just wrote it off as natural causes. His body was so decomposed that there was really nothing that they can do. So you can't really do an autopsy on a body that's been dead for 10 days laying there. So yeah, I called. I finally, I don't know, I called his doctor, and his doctor, like, there was no explanation for his death, but the only explanation that can come is the fact that he couldn't talk properly is he was having a stroke or a mini stroke, right? Like, and then he was walking in his apartment and he just died instantly. He couldn't even reach for his phone to call, so he just probably had a blood clot or if he had a heart problem like I did, he'd be dead so fast. His body wouldn't take that. So his doctor actually said what happened. He was doing really well. Yeah, he was. So not anymore. Called 811 because people were telling me to call 811, and the lady just gave me two places to go, which I already were at. I don't know. I messaged my MLA, I don't know, the government people. Finally, I found the lady to call that does the adverse reactions to it. So I made a report for me and my dad. And well, we'll put this up to our, what do you call those health minister people? Who are they? Sean, do you know who those people are? Like the health ministers? Who makes all the calls here?
You know how pissed off I am at hearing this story? I don't think you understand. Like, my heart's breaking for you, man. I'm
Yeah,
listening to
well,
you.
my heart's broken and it's been put together again. So,
Well, I appreciate you telling me the story, but you've made me very angry, and not at you, for you. And I think I know it isn't. I know it isn't. I know so many people that have had vaccines and everything else, and it's not like everyone has the same story. But there's enough of these stories, and you hear them, and it gets buried, and the burying of it is what's absolutely not appropriate. Like, I can't think of the word right now. I just can't. And I don't know, man. I'm trying to find the words. I don't have the words. I know in situations like this, there are no words. If we
yeah.
were sitting across from each other, I'd give you a big hug, because honestly, I can't imagine what you went through, what you're going through. I hope it is better, because the fact that we continue to say vaccines are the only way. Now, people can argue with you, and I suggest they
Well,
don't argue with you.
it's just like, we tried. It's not working, right? Like, why do we keep trying when it's not working?
Well, here's something that's,
It's just like, why? It's like, I don't understand like how this could even keep going on like this. Why don't they just say, okay, Pfizer's actually not working? You know, when do people get sick and die after they get COVID, even when they've been immunized? Like, I don't know. It is different. I don't think our world's ever seen something like this with the technology we supposedly have, right? So I don't know. But anyway, after I sent in those the adverse reactions, they never talked about my dad. They never said anything about him. It's just gone. And for me, they told me to get my second shot. They said they recommend I get my second Pfizer shot
why? Why would they recommend you to get your second Pfizer shot?
because that I would have had heart problems like that without the shot. And if I got COVID, that I'm at even higher risk than what I was.
I think they're fucking
Like,
insane.
oh,
Yeah.
what's worse than almost dying?
No shit.
Oh, what's
Five
worse?
times over. Five
Yeah.
times over. Like, fuck that.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm on my deathbed. Almost killed me. Took
have
my
it.
dad out, and I should take another shot.
Here's a question for you. Since you've, and I know you haven't told the entire story live like this, but you had a Facebook post. After you had the Facebook post, did you have people reach out, or was it pretty quiet, or what was the feedback like?
Oh yeah, people reached out. I really wasn't meaning for it to
I don't
reach
mean,
out to people.
no,
I'm
I
just like frustrated, and I'm like, well, Why can't someone hear what I've been going through? Why is Facebook always so happy? So I made a post of how I was feeling and what I was going through. That was the truth. I don't know. I just want to continue on with life. I want them to tell us the truth. And if they say, these aren't working, maybe we should step back and try something else. Doesn't that make sense?
It does, but I've been a proponent of early treatment. So you're a young guy. I don't care what anyone says. You're older than me. You're still a young guy. And by looking at you, you're fit. And you already talked about running and everything else. And the research that I've done, which is a negative word, can't do research. Heaven forbid you do research. And the doctors I've listened to, which are extremists, and you shouldn't do that either, and heaven forbid you do that, have all preached early treatment, which our country has pretty much decided is non-existent, not worthwhile, doesn't work ever. You just go down the list. And when you talk about, if it doesn't work, why aren't we doing different things? I mean, man, that's a question I've been asking myself for probably close to a year now. Is like, ivermectin gets a bad name, and there's ivermectin's the poster child, or hydroxychloroquine because of Trump. But ivermectin in our province gets a bad rap because Mo, calls it horse paste and whatever, and CNN and Joe Rogan, blah, 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 blah. But it's like, there's so many drugs that show early treatment. If you test positive for COVID, you start taking it in unison with a bunch of different things, you get through it just fine. And our government buried it hard. And when I hear your story, I go, heads are going to roll. I don't mean you're going to make them roll. I just mean you're not the only story. I know of multiple people who've had adverse reactions, hospital trips, and it goes on. And what you're talking about, I hear it and I go, this is on our leaders for not giving options, for not explaining the possible repercussions, for telling you to go get your second shot is just fucking laughable. I got people who are going to listen to this go, Sean, you're swearing too much. You know what? At this point in time, I don't know a different word I can say that makes my anger come through the mic as much as a swear word right now. Because to me, getting a second shot while you're in the position you're in because of the first shot makes zero sense. And you're not the first person to say that to me. I've heard it once before, and then I just had Kate King on not too long ago. She's a paramedic in Alberta, and she had a colleague with adverse reactions to different vaccines, anaphylactic shock, and which is pretty much death. I mean, geez, you can't get, and he couldn't get a medical exemption. They basically said, roll you into the emergency room and get it. And yeah, it's better for you that way. Better for you how? This is killing, sure, we'll argue 1% of the population, but that 1% is in Alberta anyways, 78 years old. It's 4 comorbidities. It's 75% of the 75% of the people who die had 4 comorbidities, which is overweight, heart disease, lung cancer, kidney disease. You list it all off. These are unhealthy people. Now, we don't want to protect them? Yeah, we do. But I look at you, sir, and you look like a physical specimen, if I may say so. And I hear your story and I go, fuck me, I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off because our government has not, in a one style approach, this is the only way. This is what it's led to, is stories like yourself. And you're not the only one. That's when I was asking about the Facebook, I was just curious if, what was the feedback like? Not feedback of oh, that's sorry. I mean, was there other people who reached out to you? Because in doing what I do,
yeah,
I've been reached out to a ton of people, and I'm just and this is why I feel guilty. Early on, I was just I don't know, do I put that out there? This is, and here we sit. And now I got young kids, and they're going after the kids. And I've made a very firm line of, you do not vaccinate my kids. I'm not going down that road. I'm just not. I don't see the benefit of it. And I apologize because you're getting me a little steamy tonight, but I really feel for you, and I don't know how better to show it than a little bit of anger, because I don't know any other way at him. I hear your story. And I just go, this is unbelievable. This isn't headline news across the CBC and everywhere else.
Yeah, I just normal guy trying to make a living and trying to do the right things. I have nothing against anyone trying to do their job properly. It's just has to come a point where you saying, well, maybe we're killing too many people than helping them, and people are still dying anyway. So maybe we should try something else. Spare some more adverse reactions. Like, I don't know. Like, has there ever been another vaccine that's had so many adverse reactions and failure? I don't know. I don't know these things. It's just I'm a fisherman and a mechanic, and I'm just trying to get by like everybody else. Try to make the right decisions. And there's like I said, all my guy friends my age, they're doing great. My brother, he hasn't had it, so he probably never will get it. If he does get it, I guess we'll see what happens with him, but I don't think he will. After he sees what I went through, I don't think that I wish that on anybody. And I hope nobody out there has to deal with what I had to deal with in the last 6 months. It's just, it can break you. And if you're not strong, it's just, yeah, I don't know. I've gotten over it. I could talk about it now. And every day that goes by, I keep making another decision. And I just keep moving. I'm trying to live a happy life. And I am. It's just, there's these glitches in it.
Well,
I'm scheduled for surgery now on February 1st. So a couple weeks.
Surgery for what?
It's called an ablation. So if you're going into AFib, it's kind of like heart surgery, but not as invasive. So they go through a vein from your hip, and then they I don't know how they do that, but they'll go up in the vein up to your heart, and then they cauterize your heart in 2 different spots. And that helps manage the electrical flow in the heart. So yeah, I'm scheduled in February 1st for my ablation, and I'll be coming off my meds after that to see if my heart can stay in rhythm.
Well, this is what I'm going to ask of the audience. I'm going to ask you 2 things. Okay. One, I'm going to ask for prayers for you for your surgery, because to me you say non-invasive, and I hear that and I go, I don't care who you are. That feels this isn't like trimming a toenail. This is a little more extensive than that. So we're going to ask for a little prayer for you, because whether you believe in the big guy or not, I think we could put a little goodwill your way.
Yeah, well, like I said, it's his will, so if I go, I go. But they say that there's like 1% chance of a stroke during it. I'm a good 1%. I always have that luck. But I think it'll be okay. I've actually lost some weight, and I haven't actually ran. I can't do anything physical anymore.
What's your business, Adam? If people want to book you to, if I want to come catch the biggest trout world record, how do I find you?
No, just you could type in my name, or our business name is called Fishing Geeks, fishinggeeks.net. And you guys are from Lloyd, right?
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah, I got clients that come in from Lloyd. We're very busy. But yeah, if you wanna message me, try to get in, you come down, we'll catch as many fish as you want. And a lot of people just the reason why I get hired a lot is if somebody like you comes to me and says, I'd like to catch 30-pound northern pike, and I could provide you a very good possibility of catching that fish. So I specialize in multi-species.
If I want to catch the world's biggest trout, is that possible?
I don't think right now, but last year our biggest rainbow was about 24 pounds.
Okay.
It's still big. Yeah, the fishery goes up and down, right? Right now, I'd say the trout fishing is at a low, but the walleye fishing and northern pike fishing is at a high. So, you know, the diversity of fish we have to guide for on Lake Diefenbaker is absolutely amazing because we have so many different species to go for. It's the difference between our lake and any other lake around here. So, yeah.
Cool. Well, I hope some listeners take you up on that. And at some point here, I'm gonna see if I can't catch the world's biggest trout because I would love nothing more than to dethrone the Konrad brothers. And there may be no anger between the
Hey,
Konrad brothers, but if I pull it off, I tell you what, I'm gonna be shooting you messages all the time.
I could give you a tip too.
Sure.
This is what you do if you want to figure out how to catch the world record rainbow trout and beat
Okay.
us. You hire me for about 3 days and you get me to spill the beans on everything. And then after that, you live there for like 3 years and fish every day for that 49 pounder. Because honestly, sometimes you have to be there for like 3, 4 days before you get one bite. But that bite could be a 40-pound rainbow. So, yep.
Well, I don't know if I'm moving there. I'm gonna take my chances that
You
fish.
wanted to. That's what you got to do. But the first step is to hire me and I'll show you all the ropes.
I tell you what, we're going to take you up on that. Here's your final question. We'll switch into the Crude Master final question. Shout out to Heath and Tracy McDonald, supporters of the podcast since the very beginning. I'm always curious, and the listeners know this. They probably get tired of me saying that, to be honest. But if you could sit down with one person, Adam, and pick their brain right now, who would you take? And yeah, who would you take?
What do you mean by pick your brain?
Well, exactly what I'm doing. To me, picking the brain is the most fascinating part of an individual is between their ears. It's how their brain thinks. You get to pick it. You get to ask it questions. You get to pick their brain.
Like talk to someone that I enjoy talking to?
Yeah, and ask them some deep questions.
And what would their answers? Do their answers have to be truthful?
I don't know.
Like, yeah, that's what the deal is. The deal is I could pick anybody and I could ask them any questions, but their answers have to be truthful. How about that?
Okay, fair enough.
I'd
Done.
pick Justin Trudeau.
Oh fuck, he ain't. You'd have to fill him full of truth serum and then some.
But no, but I could get the, that was the deal. That's
Okay,
who I'd
fair
sit
enough.
down and talk
What would
to.
you ask Justin Trudeau?
Fuck, I don't know. I'd think about it before I got up to him, talk to him. I don't know, but he's the biggest liar out there. You can tell.
Isn't that the
Well,
truth?
I'm just gonna stop talking about that. That's bad. But
Hey,
if there's somebody that I could like talk to, I don't know. I'd pick some sort of like maybe Arnold Schwarzenegger or something. He's been a he's been fun to watch over the years.
well, regardless, I really appreciate you coming on, and I really do appreciate you telling us your story. I hope it spurs on some people, resonates with some people, whatever. To me, after hearing it, I go, I've waited too long to bring someone like yourself who has a story like that on, to be honest. And I'm gonna be a little hard on myself for the next couple of days because I've thought about it a lot. But I do appreciate you taking the time to talk to me and explain your story. I wish you the best of luck, and I do mean it. I hope the listeners. There's a lot of people who believe in the big man upstairs, and I do hope they'll send some love your way because non-invasive or not, that type of surgery isn't your standard, like I say, clipping the toenail, so to speak. So we wish you the best of luck.
You're not making me feel good right now.
No, I don't mean to do that. I just when you say it's not invasive, I'm like, oh, what is he doing? Is he
Well,
getting
that's what
just
they
a
tell
root
me.
canal? No, that ain't a root canal. That ain't a simple going. I hate going to the dentist. And yet they
Oh
seem
yeah,
to just drill and
I'm
poke and
nervous.
prod. Yeah.
I am nervous every time they. Yeah, the heart is a very delicate thing, and if you ever have problems like this, it could screw your life up pretty bad, mentally too. A lot a lot for me to come out of that dark place. So
Well, I appreciate you doing this, and go be with your family. I do appreciate you taking some time for me tonight, and God bless. Okay.
All right. Thanks, Sean.